Imagine you're camping out in the middle of nowhere. It's night. You're alone. The only sound you hear is the wind rustling through the trees. All around you is dense forest. Nothing else. For some people, that's the dream. The silence. The solitude. But then you start to feel something. Like someone or something is watching you, following you. And suddenly, the forest doesn't feel so peaceful anymore. This story is one of the strangest and most terrifying experiences of my life. My name is Daniel. My father was an American crop duster pilot, and my mother was a forest ranger stationed in Blackwood National Forest. It's a huge stretch of wilderness upstate, and we lived on the outskirts near a small ranger settlement. From the yard of our cabin, you could see the vast tree line stretch for miles. But there was one thing in particular I could always make out in the far distance when the sky was clear. A tall, rusting watchtower, barely visible through the trees. That tower fascinated me as a kid. My mother used to warn me about it, saying it had been abandoned years ago. According to her and the other rangers, strange things had happened there. Unexplainable sightings, sounds in the night, and a few rangers who went missing during their shifts. Eventually, they stopped assigning anyone to that outpost. It became a ghost post, left to rot. But the stories only made me more curious. Now, I'm 26 years old. I've always been into solo camping, often spending nights deep in the woods by myself. Something about the stillness of the forest brings me peace. Over the years, I've camped in dozens of different locations around Blackridge, but I'd never dared visit that tower. Not until recently. After years of curiosity, I finally decided to go. My mother, now retired, reluctantly gave me her blessing, along with a stern warning and a GPS tracker in case something went wrong. I packed light, a small camping bag with essentials, a portable gas stove, and my tent. I drove as close as I could get by car, then hiked the rest of the way through the increasingly dense forest. The path was rough, overgrown, and without any kind of trail. After hours of hiking, I finally caught sight of the tower, barely visible through the thickets. Rusted and leaning slightly, it looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. I reached the bottom and tested the old metal stairs, making sure they'd hold my weight. Slowly, I climbed up. At the top, there was a small room, once used by rangers to watch for forest fires. Inside was an old, decaying bed frame, a rickety chair, and a broken table. Everything was covered in dust, but the view, it was breathtaking. The forest stretched endlessly, golden in the light of the setting sun. I pitched my tent right there on the platform and sat back to enjoy the sunset. I boiled some noodles on my little stove, ate, and listened to the quiet hum of nature. It felt surreal. This had been a childhood dream of mine for so long. Now, here I was. Eventually, it got cold, and I climbed into my tent. I switched on a dim lantern and drifted off to sleep. Sometime in the night, I woke up. There wasn't a sound that startled me awake. No sudden noise or knock. I just opened my eyes. Something felt wrong. I unzipped the tent and stepped out to the edge of the tower. From up there, the forest was cloaked in black, but between the tree trunks in the far distance, I saw something. A light. It was faint, flickering. At first, I thought it might be a hiker with a flashlight, but it moved strangely, almost like an open flame being waved around. The way it blinked in and out behind trees didn't seem right. And then it vanished. I stood there watching for several minutes, but nothing came back. Eventually, I returned to my tent, though now I couldn't sleep. My ears felt tuned to every sound in the forest. Then I heard something. At first it was faint, distant, like soft footsteps crunching through leaves. Then it stopped. A moment later, I heard movement again, this time much closer. I sat up, silent. Then I heard it, a shifting of leaves and underbrush, directly below the tower. I crawled out of the tent and looked over the edge. There, standing in the clearing just beneath the tower, was a man. He stood completely still, looking up at me. His clothes were dark, his hair messy, and his expression blank. I called out to him, "Hey, do you need help?" He didn't respond, just stood there, staring. For 10, maybe 15 minutes, we just stared at each other. I didn't know what to do. He didn't look like a hiker. He didn't have a backpack or flashlight, just empty hands and vacant eyes. Then, slowly, he raised both arms into the air, like some kind of ritual gesture. He held them there for a few seconds, then lowered them. He turned without a word and disappeared back into the forest. My heart was pounding. But that wasn't the end of it. After he left, I could hear more movement, deeper into the woods. Heavy, slow footsteps. Not one person, several. I couldn't see them, but I could feel them. The air felt heavier, like I wasn't alone. I decided to stay put until morning. Getting down from that tower and hiking back through pitch-black woods now felt suicidal. I zipped up the tent and forced myself to lie down. Hours passed. Eventually, I dozed off again. But then I woke up a second time. This time, I was sure I heard something. Footsteps on the stairs. They were slow, deliberate, getting closer. I didn't move. I just listened. My tent was silent. The whole tower creaked under the weight of someone climbing up. I crawled out and backed up against the far wall of the room. My eyes locked on the staircase entry. I couldn't see below, just the top edge of the stairs. And I waited. The sound kept coming, one step at a time, closer and closer, until it stopped. Right before whoever or whatever it was reached the top. And then, nothing. I stood frozen, barely breathing, waiting for something to emerge from the stairwell. But nothing did. I don't know how long I stood there. 5 minutes? 10? Finally, I grabbed my flashlight and inched closer to the stairwell, ready to shine it down. But the stairs were empty. I didn't sleep again that night. As soon as the sky began to lighten, I packed everything in record time and left. I didn't stop moving until I reached my car hours later. To this day, I don't know who that man was or what made those footsteps. But something is up there in Blackridge Forest. Something that doesn't want to be seen. And if you ever go camping alone, don't look down from the tower.